Hey everybody, what is going on today? Lone Wolf here with you guys again today, and ladies and gentlemen, it is finally here. Season 2 Reloaded, the big mid-season update for Season 2. And today I'm going to be trying to go over some of the patch notes, go over some of the key points that I think you guys will be interested in to know that, what's going to affect your gameplay, what's going to affect the way you rank up stuff, new guns coming in the future. Include the 20 millimeter sniper rifle. Of course, that's not added into the game yet. That'll be coming a little bit later in the season. And the big Warzone update will actually be coming tomorrow. So you guys stay tuned for that as well. But in Cold War, the new update has dropped at 12 a.m. ET last night, and this is what is new. So I'm gonna go over this real quick with you guys. Just real quick, because I want to get into the meat and potatoes, if you want to say it that way, for this update. But real quick, the new map, Miami Strike, was added. And this map essentially is going to replace the old Miami map that we know, excepting for a few select game modes that include like VIP and search and destroy, stuff like that. So I haven't personally played this map yet. Literally just jumped on, but I'm hearing people say this is a way better map than Miami. Maybe you guys have mixed feelings about it. Miami, it was kind of a love-hate relationship, either really good or really bad for me. So you guys check that map out. That's new. Prop Hunt is new. They also added satellite to Prop Hunt. I do know that as well. I know I'm going to be trying to jump on that and play some Prop Hunt for you guys. Just have some fun, mess around with it. Also, Fireteam Hardpoint Galova. Now, this is a different Fireteam mode than we've ever had, and probably one of the best, because in this mode, what essentially it is it's a smaller team on a Fireteam map, so there's only going to be a few people in the team, and you're essentially going to be playing a multiplayer objective in the Fireteam map. So, Hardpoint, essentially. You're going to be trying to control a hardpoint, gaining points, by controlling that hard point, but there's a lot more teams to fight with than just two, like on a multiplayer scenario. So, of course, snipers, only Mosh Pit's back, Newtown 24/7's back, and then Fireteam Mosh Pit is also back. So then you have your regular stuff down here. But the big update in this Season 2 Reloaded is going to be your weapons. So Treyarch has done some major weapons tuning. Probably the biggest weapons tuning update that we have seen in Call of Duty Cold War to date. And here's the essentials. Here's the highlights. So, number one in the assault rifles. So the Krieg 6 is actually got improved visibility while firing in ADS mode. So then it has complete tuning pass on weapon accuracy, weapon movement, and visual clarity while firing with any optic attachment. So that's essentially just going to make your weapon more accurate. It's going to essentially cut down on the maybe the muzzle flash or what have you. So you guys will be able to see better while you're ADS and engaging. Also, they addressed in instances where the weapon, while firing for an extended amount of time, become floaty in an instance, and what for me, I didn't really understand this, but essentially what I'm understanding this is almost like sniper sway. Whenever you have ADS for a sniper for too long, or you've held your breath for too long, sometimes the Krieg 6, while you were firing for an extended amount of time, basically like emptying your clip or whatever, would start to sway, almost like maybe not as bad, but almost like a sniper rifle. So keep that in mind. Then also, the next big update for the assault rifles was the FAR. The FAR got a big update, and this is what they did. They increased the ballistic speed of the FFAR by 12.8%. So that's gonna increase your TTK, time to kill. I'm sorry, it's gonna decrease your time to kill with the FFAR, and I'm really glad they did this, honestly, because it just seemed like the bullet velocity on this gun was a little down. Fire rate's good and all that good stuff, but sometimes you're just getting taken out all the time by the AK or better assault rifles, just because they have better bullet velocity and a higher damage. So that's really good. Also, the last assault rifle that was to receive an update was the Groza right here. And I don't use the Groza hardly at all, as you guys can tell. Mine's only level 4. Wasn't really big on it, but I know there's a lot of people that use it, and I actually think it's a pretty decent assault rifle. So, but the Groza got increased maximum damage range by 40%. So that's a huge maximum damage range buff for the Groza. I'm interested to see how that's going to play out, how that's going to feel, especially in bigger maps and in bigger modes like Team and the new Fire Team Hardpoint mode. So overall, the attachments, Treyarch says complete tuning pass on muzzle and underbarrel attachments that on assault rifles. So all your muzzle and your underbarrel attachments, like your foregrips and like your silencers and muzzle brakes and stuff like that, they've got a tune on that they're going to affect your vertical recoil, your horizontal recoil a lot differently. And I'm guessing it's just in the feel and in the amount they do. So they don't really specifics on that. They just throw that out there. So you guys, if the muzzle attachments that you guys have been using are not working for y'all, try something different. Mess around with it. See what you guys would like to use instead of the old ones, because they have tuned that up massively. So the next guns we're going to be moving on to is they've tuned the submachine guns. The first submachine gun to get a tune is the Milano 821. This gun got an absolutely massive buff, and here's what Treyarch said. They increased the mid-range damage by 10%. Okay, they increased the mid-range damage range by 33%. They increased the sprint out speed by 14.2%. So I'm guessing that's your sprint to fire time. They increased the raise speed by 11%, so that's your ADS, and they slightly increased ADS in speed. So I'm guessing what that is your sprint to fire time, your pre-ADS, and then your actual sight picture acquisition. They increased all that, and of course your mid-range damage and your mid-range damage range by 33%, which that's kind of confusing because it kind of sounds like the same thing to me, but they increased those. So you guys try this weapon out. I've actually used this weapon quite a bit. I thought it was pretty good to begin with. The damage was always really good on it, but maybe I do feel like the damage fall off was definitely there on this weapon. So you guys try the Milano out. If you didn't like it in the past, check it out, and maybe it'll be a lot better for you guys now that it got that buff. I'm gonna skip over the AK-74U for now. We'll come back to it. The KSP-45, also a gun I don't use a whole lot, but it's a very good gun, very powerful. They also buffed it. They increased the ballistic speed by 32.5%, and they reduced the burst delay by 20%. So essentially what that's doing is that's going to allow your fire rate to raise. And this gun is a pretty high damage submachine gun, and so that's gonna reduce your time to kill, and it's also gonna increase your fire rate. So, all right, now jumping back up here to the AK-74U, this gun actually got a nerf. Now, not sure how I feel about it, but this was one of the most overpowered SMGs in the game. If you want to know my opinion, use this gun quite a bit. But they reduce the accuracy with prolonged firing, so there's no longer going to be that 1 kill, 2 kill, 3 kills without even un-ADSing or whatever you want to call it. The longer you fire, the more inaccurate this weapon's going to become now. And they reduce the muzzle velocity by 23.4%. So that's actually a crazy muzzle velocity nerf there with the 23.4%. I'm interested to see if this gun is gonna keep up now with some of the other really good SMGs like the Bullfrog and the MP5 and the Milano, especially since the Milano got a big buff. So I'm guessing that 23.4% negative bullet muzzle velocity is probably going to put the muzzle velocity right there with the KSP-45 and the Milano, if I was guessing. But you guys use it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. But moving on to one of my favorite, and I think probably one of everybody's favorite. It's a really good SMG. but the MAC-10 got a modified bullet pattern to add slightly more horizontal trajectories. So essentially what that's going to do is that's going to make this gun more inaccurate in your horizontal plane. So you guys may throw on a different muzzle attachment or a different foregrip to try and combat that horizontal muzzle velocity that they've increased now. So a little bit of a nerf to the MAC-10 right there. Now the LC-10 actually got a huge nerf. They reduced the max damage range by 41%, and they slightly reduced the mid-range damage as well. So the good thing about this gun was that it was really good at range. The damage range was really good on this weapon. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I've played with this gun a little bit, not a whole lot, as you can tell, but I know for you LC-10 users out there, that's going to be a big deal. So next we're jumping on to the light machine guns. They only messed with one light machine gun, the Light Machine Gun Alpha or the Stoner 63. And what they did was they reduced the maximum damage range by 25%. So what I'm going to guess here is probably no more beating out snipers with the Stoner unless the sniper just misses their shot. Because the Stoner, even all the way across a bigger map like Satellite where you have a lot of open space, you were beating snipers out with a 2-hit kill with the Stoner if you hit chest or even a headshot. So that's what that's going to do to the Stoner. Now we're moving on to the sniper rifles. Don't want to bore you guys too much with all these details, but I kind of wanted to fill you guys in on all this so you guys know, hey, what guns to use, what guns are buffed, what guns are nerfed. If you had a favorite gun, now it's not seeming just right. It's probably because it got nerfed. But the sniper rifles, they disabled the glint effect on the sniper rifles with the iron sights equipped. Now this should have always been that way. Not sure why iron sights left a glint on the sniper rifles. But they did. So they fixed that. Now whenever you have iron sights equipped, there'll be no glint with the sniper. Now moving on to air pistols. Okay. The 1911 has increased ADS speed by 11%, so making that a little bit better for the 1911. Now down to the Magnum. I see a lot of people using the Magnum, especially dual wield. So they nerfed the Magnum a little bit, which I think honestly was really needed because you could essentially one-tap somebody if you were dual wielding. So firing each weapon at the same time, you could one-tap them. But they slightly decreased the hip fire accuracy, which is really nice for the dual wield nerf. Now dual wield bullet trajectories are now more varied when firing both guns simultaneously. So whenever you fire them at the same time, your bullet trajectories are going to be a little different, so you may hit one bullet, not hit the other one. So that's going to really help not getting one tap by dual wield magnums, which was super annoying in my opinion. So then they redesigned the 4.7-inch takedown barrel attachment into a tight snub barrel. This attachment now adds damage to both enemies and vehicles. So let's go right here. We'll go down here to this right here. And this is the barrel they're talking about. The 4.7-inch takedown is now the 4.7-inch tight snub. And this attachment now adds damage to both enemies and vehicles instead of just enemies. So there you go. That is the update on the pistols. Now moving on to launchers. I know there's a lot of information, guys, but like I said, this is one of the biggest weapon nerfs / buffs / modifications, whatever you want to call it, since the game was released. The RPG is now has a slightly increased blast radius and a greatly increased length of straight rocket flight path. So what that's essentially going to do is that's going to allow you to be able to shoot down score streaks easier with the RPG instead of shooting them and it completely goes the other way once it gets up so high. So that's a buff for the RPG. Now, the attachments. The Infantry V choke is now, Treyarch says they updated the attachment to description to clarify pros and cons. So apparently that was kind of vague. I never really paid attention to the Infantry V choke description, but apparently they updated the description so you guys can understand more what the attachment does. They kind of tweaked the weapon progression as well. Players can now earn weapon XP and challenge progress by using any weapon, even if they do not currently own it. So, for example, if you guys are playing, someone has a weapon you don't have unlocked, if you're a little bit lower level, or maybe the weapon has come out, you don't have it unlocked. Like, say, I'm going to say the shovel or the sledgehammer, a melee weapon. If somebody drops that weapon that you kill, you pick that weapon up and use it, it's now going to rank that weapon up for you guys. Like, I know the crossbow came out not too long ago, which that's a really fun gun to use. I'll try to make a video on that soon. But now that's going to rank up the weapon for you guys instead of you all having it unlocked before you can actually go ahead and rank it up. So they tweaked the movement a little bit. They slightly reduced the speed of changing stances from stand to crouch to prone. Additional adjustments to come to address remaining disparity between first person and third person perspectives. The last part's a little vague for me, but essentially what they're going to do is what they've done is they've reduced the speed which you can go prone. So drop shot and people is going to be a little bit hard. Now also, I did read this in the patch notes as I was reviewing them. These adjustments to these weapons are not going to reflect in Warzone just yet. These are only for Cold War multiplayer and or zombies. So you guys, if you guys think you can jump into Warzone right now and these changes are going to be there, they're going to be adjusted in Warzone. You can maybe take advantage of that 40% damage range they added to the Groza. It's not going to be there until they're planning on updating Warzone tomorrow, in my understanding. So you guys stay tuned for that, and wait to look at the patch notes and stuff for that, so you guys can see those for Warzone, because they're not going to be the same. Now let's jump over to zombies real quick. I want to go over with you guys a few things about the zombies update that they did as well. So there's a new region, Sanatorium Night region was added to Outbreak. Super excited to play that. There's a new objective now, secure the objective, added to Outbreak. So essentially what it is, I think, it's like 2 rockets come down. They make like a fire ring around them. So it'll be like almost like the Dragon Relic fire ring, and you have to essentially kill zombies inside that ring to fill up the rocket, and then it'll go lift back off. And there's 2 of those they drop, 2 of them drop, so like an A and a B objective, and you have to fill those kind of like soul boxes, and then they'll lift off and you complete the objective. There's a new dirt bike added to Outbreak. The dirt bike was added, which is super cool. The dirt bike was my favorite vehicle in the Outbreak, in the Fireteam Dirty Bomb modes that were at the beginning of the game when the game first released. So that's super cool. Super happy to see that. There's new intel, new audio logs and radio transmissions added to for players to discover in the Ural Mountains. Stability, they added fixed crashes related to objectives, trials, the AK trials, the Ray K84, and the Frost Blast field upgrade. So they added bug fixes for all those. Then they just address some issues where the players could fall out of the map on Alpine, address other issues where players could get stuck in a planter on Golova. Just some different bug fixes and things. If you guys want to read all those, you can go to Treyarch's official website, and you guys can check all those bug fixes out on your own. But real quick, to the holdout, they reduced the duration of holdout objective by 30 seconds. That's huge. Holdout is the hardest objective in my opinion, and reducing that holdout time by 30 seconds is really big. So I think it was originally 4 minutes, now it'll be 3.5 minutes. They added ammo caches to the holdout objective space in Alpine. They cleaned up areas where interfering with barricade and shooting out of windows in the Golova hideout objective. So there you guys go. That is the basic update information for the guns and multiplayer, a little bit of the maps that they added, and a little bit of the information for zombies and especially for Outbreak. Now also I want to add in here before we go, the Dead Ops Arcade. These now will also up your progression to your battle pass and to your weapon progression. So all the XP earned in the Dead Ops Arcade will go toward your character progression, so your prestige level and your battle pass level. So there you guys go. That is Season 2 Reloaded. Can't wait to jump on here, try all the new guns, try all the maps. Super big into zombies, so I can't wait to try out the new Outbreak map, all those different things. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys enjoy this update. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Lone.